Yo guys, what's going on, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm back with another Psgl league race, round number 6 of the championship. We are here in Italy, and we're just on board with myself in the qualifying lap. It was a bit of a messed up qualifying. We went through the short qualifying, we were about to start the race, and a couple of people disconnected, so we had to do a one-shot quali, which is why there's no one on track and there's no on-screen data. But I was ridiculously confident coming into this race. This is by far my best chance of picking up a win. Last time out in Belgium, it didn't go to plan, as we all saw. But I had been practicing this track all week. My quali runs, my race runs. I have done a ridiculous amount of laps on this track this week. As you can see, qualifying on the soft tyre, simply because I could guarantee myself a 2-stop starting on the soft tyre. I could start on the super soft, but it would be risky of tyre wear. We're coming out of a Psgl now. It's actually been a decent lap. I knew that it was one-shot quali, so if I just kept a clean lap, I would move up positions. So that's all I really needed to do. I didn't push as hard as I could because I knew if I cut the corner, I'd be down in the back of the pack. But coming around Parabolica now, one of my favourite corners in the game, cut up to the line, and Car World goes fastest. He gets pole position. And we get second position on the soft tyre. So the top two starting soft tyres. We've got AJ in third on the super soft. Ranger and Lars Gaming also on the super soft. That makes up the top 5. So we get a 1:22.8, and that is by far my quickest time on the soft tyre. So I was very happy with that. But moving on to the race, this is my strategy. I'm not actually going to stick to what I've been told. I plan to just take the soft tyres as far as they could go onto the mediums in the middle stint. And if I could make it super soft at the end, but you can see putting in a hell of a lot of fuel into my car, 6 extra laps of fuel, simply because you want to be running rich on this track. But anyway, that is my strategy, that is my qualifying position. Let's go to the race. But here we go, we have 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And it's lights out and away we go, and the initial getaway is looking decent. We've got Car World on our outside, and I was very cautious coming into turn 1. You can see we're slightly pulling alongside Car World. I did not want to go alongside him, but you can see Ranger dives up the inside of us into turn 1. He cuts the second corner, or technically first corner, and he goes into first position. Car World now wants to get past him, obviously getting the better run out of turn 1. And Ranger was lagging a bit, I'm not going to lie. You can see a little bit of contact between the Red Bull and the Toro Rosso. Heading down to the second chicane, Car World pulls out of it quite smartly. And I'm sort of just sat here waiting for a collision. I'm not going to lie, I was expecting it. Ranger was lagging and Car World was very, very aggressive. So I was kind of just waiting for a collision to happen. And you can see Car World getting on the grass and going sideways through the Lesmo. Coming down to Parabolica on lap 1 now, you can see Car World's got a very good run through Psgl, trying to go up the inside of Ranger into Parabolica. They are side by side, and I was holding back a bit. I didn't want to get involved in this fight because I knew 3 cars would be just... I probably would have got taken out if I got involved. So I was just sort of waiting for a collision. I was really expecting a collision. But heading down to turn 1 now, Ranger has a look up the inside of Car World, and I don't really know why. He's absolutely ruined his run through turn 1. Now we're right onto the back of him, but sector 2 really isn't an overtaking place, with the exception of the back straight. You can see we're getting in a slipstream round the Curva Grande, heading down to the second chicane. I didn't want to dive his inside. You can see how much he's lagging, so I thought I'd just stay behind him once again and hopefully take him down the main straight with slipstream. Come around Parabolica on lap 2 then, right behind Ranger still, trying to get a really, really good run. And you see he actually goes, I don't really know what happened, he just turned too much, gets onto the grass, ruins his run down the main straight. We go to the outside, and that is second place, or back up in the second place for us. But I'm not really sure what happened to Ranger. He sort of just lost traction mid-corner. He very narrowly missed me, but we move back up in the second place at the end of lap 2. On to lap 6 now. We pulled a gap on Ranger as he is pit, obviously on a super soft tyre, and they do not last longer on this track. Car World pulls into the pit surprisingly early. He was on a soft tyre, and I don't know, you can see I'm checking my tyre wear. I knew I could take these tyres a hell of a lot longer, so I don't really know why he pit. I spoke to him after the race, and he said he ruined his rear tyres, so I will happily take advantage of that. We move up into first place. And now I decide to really push the car, try and get the undercut, try and hope the car will get stuck in traffic. And at the end of lap 8 now, we are coming into the pit for our first stop onto the medium tyre. We've taken these soft tyres 8 laps, which isn't as far as I would hoped. But checking the race director, Carwold is on the medium tyre as well. So he is on the same strategy, and I'm sure that he's got to go onto the soft tyre at the end. He will not be able to make it on the super soft tyre at the end. We have a choice to. You can see we come out in second place as Carwold takes the lead. He was absolutely flying, and we actually come out behind Ash Bess, which I was not too happy with. He was on a 1 stop, so I knew he was going to be slow. And I was just kind of hoping I could get past him as quickly as possible, and hopefully he wouldn't ruin my race, because I knew there was still a chance I could beat Carwold on strategy. On the next lap, however, coming out of Parabolica right onto the back of Ash Bess, you can see the traction we get out of that corner. And I knew he was going to be slow. He goes defensive. We have Slipstream and DRS. I don't know what wings he was running, but he was stupidly quick in a straight line. But luckily we go around his outside. He tries to hold it up the inside of turn 1. We leave him the space and go round his outside at turn 1. I'm not going to lie. That move, I enjoyed making that move. That was, like, I'd been practicing going side by side with Ash during the week, and that move really felt good. I did enjoy that move. But coming into the second chicane, Ash has a look at my inside, and I mean, he spins it. I honestly don't know why he tried to look up my inside. There wasn't any room. I wasn't going to leave him the room because I knew I was quicker than him. That's not me being cocky. I just knew I was quicker than him. But coming on to lap 17, literally nothing has happened, and we take the lead as Carwold comes into the pit. He puts on the soft tyre with 11 laps to go, and I knew that was going to be a push for him because I knew I could take the tyres 10 laps, but I had to drive incredibly slowly. So I was actually quite hopeful when I saw him come into the pit. On to lap 18 though, I wanted to come into the pit this lap to just, I knew he was going to be quick on the soft tyre, but you can see on the screen my teammate comes into the pit, and looking back at it, I maybe could have made the pit stop and not get held up, but I really didn't want to risk it. Obviously I was lapping my teammate, but yeah, I didn't want to risk it. I was coming up on traffic, so I wanted to pit this lap to just avoid it, but I didn't want to risk getting held up in the pit. Going past the pit lane now, my teammate is up ahead, and you see the cars I have to get through. I'm kind of hoping, like, I didn't know if they would let me through or not, but coming onto the back of the Haas car, I'm not going to lie, I was quite cautious coming through these guys because I didn't know what they were going to do. But coming down to second chicane, luckily the Haas car does pull to the inside. My teammate gets a nasty swipe as he comes through the second chicane, and this is really putting me off, just because before I was in clear air and I could just drive how I wanted to drive, but now I had to focus on the cars ahead, not knowing if they were going to let me through or not. Coming onto the back of my teammate, luckily he does pull to the inside, and I would have DRS, but
DRS will be offline. There's a fault with the rear wing system. Stay out. We can work on a fix remotely.
yeah, that's not what you want to hear at Monza. That is really not what you want to hear at Monza. My DRS is broken, and I mean, yes, I was overtaking a lapped car, but that is gonna that DRS will give me a good extra 3 temps, if not more. We're coming around Parabolica now. We're coming into the pit at the end of this lap. Luckily, we have made it through the pack, and we haven't really get held up. Well, we've lost some time, but it's a lot less than I was expecting. We're going to go onto the soft tyre for the final stint. 8 laps to go. I could have gone onto the super soft tyre, but I'd have to nurse my tyres at the end. So we go onto the soft tyre, and I knew I could push. Obviously, Carwold's pushing. He takes the lead of the race, but I knew I could push to the end now. I had about 2 laps of spare fuel, and I knew I could just destroy these tyres and quite comfortably make it to the end. We come out on P2 ahead of Mr. Slim. He still had an extra stop. And at this point, I was kind of settling for second place. I knew I had a decent gap to third place. Carwold was just incredibly quick on this track. You can see putting in fastest laps pretty much back to back. We come out of Parabolica on the fresher tyres, on Rich Mix, come up to the line, and we beat his fastest lap time. So we are pushing 2, but I knew I could do this. I knew my tyres could make it to the end. But on lap 23, Car World comes into the pit. Like, at this moment while I was racing, I had no idea why I thought he'd just given me the win. He goes onto super soft tyre. I honestly thought he'd just pit just to beat my fastest lap. But as soon as I saw he went into the pit with 4 laps to go, I could relax a bit more because I knew that I had won this race. I didn't have a penalty. I had 1 warning for the entire race. If I just kept it on the track like I've been doing the entire race, I could win this race, and that's exactly what I did, coming out of Parabolica for the final time. At my 2nd attempt, we come out of Parabolica, weaving across the line, and we win the Italian Grand Prix. My first ever league race win, and my first ever league race finish. Car World comes home in 2nd place, on the super soft tyre. He did set the fastest lap. And, yeah, I'm not going to lie, he was very, very annoyed. He was ridiculously annoyed at me. If he had just been easier on the tyres, he would have easily beaten me. But we win in Italy, my favourite track on the calendar. Ash Best, brilliant drive, coming home for P3, starting in 12th place. Made the one-stop work. I have no idea how he did it, but he makes the one-stop work. He comes home in P3, and yeah, that felt amazing. So here's the classification for the race. We come home in 1st, Car World 2nd, Ash Best 3rd, Ranger in 4th, Last Game in 5th, AJ 6th, Mr. Stim in 7th, Kellon in 8th, my teammate in 9th, and Ellen in 10th place. You can see I'm just one of 2 people in the top 10 that didn't have a penalty. But that is my league race, guys. My first ever win, my first ever league race win. Next up is the Singapore Grand Prix, which I'm not going to lie, I'm not too confident at. But hopefully I can continue this momentum and hopefully get onto the podium. We are chasing down Mr. Stim in the drivers. We are chasing down Mercedes in the constructors. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in Singapore. See ya!